Hi there. Today we're going to stamp this card. It's made with one of the new Celebration stamp sets you can get from free. And we're going to make this paper behind it. And the stamp set is called Hey Chick. And this is a free set you can get after you spend $50 on something in Stampin' Up! Catalog. Normally I wouldn't make this kind of a card. But anyway, the background is this embossed, and you can emboss it with any embossing folder you want. I have a piece of old olive and a piece of Marina Mist that I put the white on the Marina Mist, and then I layered that on the old olive, and that's the front of the card. Now I'm going to show you how I made this paper, which is actually stamped. Now I took an old stamp that's discontinued because it was as close as I could get to some type of a tie-dye look. It's actually, and I'm using a piece of foam, which is a foam pad that I make myself. So this will show you kind of how to use your stamps in different ways. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to color the stamp with first Delightful Dijon in the very center, and I'm leaving a little bit of space, and then I'm going to use real red, and I'm going to put a circle of real red around that. And after the real red, I'm going to take the Marina Mist, because those are the three colors that I want to put in this. And I did leave a space in between the colors because I really wanted this to look like a tie-dye rather than the batik stamp that it is. Now, here's what I originally had, and all it is a cube of foam, and I'll show you what that is. It's actually a product by Ranger, and it's called Cut and Dry, and this happens to be the foam one. They come in like 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12 sheets that you can get. And what you do is you cut a piece the big size of your stamp, and then you stamp the markers that I put on the stamp, and it'll show you where you're going to put your colors. Now, I've already made one, so I'm going to just re-ink that. So I'm going to put my Delightful Dijon in the center of the one I've already made, just to re-ink it a little bit. You can store these in Ziploc bags, and they keep for a long time. Real red, I'm going to go around the circle with real red. And then finally, I'm going to use the Marina Mist. Now notice I've left a little space in between them, just like I left a space in between the marker lines circular on the stamp when I colored them with the marker. I have a piece of white Neenah cardstock here, just a strip of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp down the length of this cardstock. And I'm just going to stamp, and I'm not going to be real particular. And you can see that I'm getting more of a, it almost looks like tie-dye. Now Stampin' Up! Came out with a new tie-dye stamp set, but silly me, I did not order it yet. So I had to make do with what I had to be able to make this card. Now I wasn't real happy because I did want some more green in there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually put a little bit of green in there, and I'm going to sponge it in afterwards. And this is Pear Pizzazz. So I'm just going to sponge around the edges and down the center just to add a little bit of green because I didn't want too many colors in that stamp. And this will just give it a hint of green around all those colors. Next I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut two strips. Actually I'm going to cut a little niche out of the bottom, just a V cut out of the bottom to make like a ribbon, and cut out the piece that I want. First piece is a little bit wider than the other piece, and the second piece I'm going to cut is going to be just a little bit narrower. I'm going to cut a narrower piece right down the center. I could have used my paper cutter and done this perfectly, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be underneath the image anyway. So now that I've got those made, and how they lay on the card is I'm going to put the card up here and over top of the white. I don't have these glued down, but you can get the idea here. We're going to put the smaller strip down first, a little bit higher than the fat strip, and the fat strip's going to just kind of overlay it just like that. And that's how you're going to put those on the front of that card. Now I'm going to work on the image, and I'm going to use the MISTI, and I have a piece of watercolor paper in here, just the size that we need. I don't really need the magnets on this because it's not real sticky, and we're going to use VersaFine black because I'm actually going to do a little bit of watercoloring on that paper. So I'm inking the chicken and the saying right there, and it actually turned out, the Versamark turns out really well, or not the Versamark, the VersaFine turns out really well on watercolor paper, even that bumpy surface. Although with the MISTI, if I miss it, I can stamp it again right in the same spot. So now I'm just going to watercolor in this chicken, and I'm going to use the same colors that I used in the block, except I have a pumpkin pie mixed in there and a daffodil delight. And I'm going to use my water brush, acrylic black. Now if you want to get lighter colors, you can see I'm doing the daffodil delight around the edge, and I've also put them all on the block so I can pick up lighter colors to blend in the center. Very light in the center of his stomach, and then darker around the edges. I also put in some water. I just put plain water on the tail so that I could put a little bit of red at the beginning and some blue, and then I'm going to bring the watercolor brush back in and blend those together. And I had yellow underneath. Then I put a little orange on the beak, and then I took each of the colors and I just colored in different pieces of the hair hanging down there. Okay, he's all done, and he's on the front of the card, and that's how you put it together, and that's that card. Simple.